it's like, yeah, yeah. Straight out of Stratford, slinging texts like Stafford, talking all the big games, have a beer right after. When it comes to the facts and the stats we provide, better know that our names will be up in the rafters. Straight out of Stratford, slinging texts like Stafford, talking all the big games, have a beer right after. When it comes to the facts and the stats we provide, better know that our names will be up in the rafters.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 2. I'm with my co-host, Julian. I am your host, Zach. We have the name templates right on the screen this time, so there will be no confusion. Again, I am Zach. This is Julian with me.
Yep, what's going on, guys?
We got a lot to talk about coming up in this episode as well. We did finish off a little bit last time talking about the NBA. The series was not over yet, but now the season is finally over. The NBA Finals have concluded. The Oklahoma City Thunder won Game 7 by a score of 103-91. What did you think about the series, Julian?
I thought the series was pretty good. It was like very back and forth because when you look at it, right, OKC was definitely favored to win.
Absolutely, they were.
But you have Indiana, who literally just came out and played with everything they had.
Yes, they did.
You had Pascal playing well, Tyrese
Yeah.
Haliburton playing well. May he rest up and get well soon. Nobody wants to see a player of that caliber get hurt.
That's true. Very true.
Coming from a Knicks fan, I don't like the guy. He's not my favorite player.
Me either.
But I don't wish anybody an injury like that bad. Even with Tatum, I didn't want to see him.
Like I said before,
hurt.
man, I saw a lot of people online talking and saying how happy they were when Tatum got hurt. I saw the same thing with Tyrese Haliburton. Both, it was an absolute shame, especially when you have those guys playing at the top of their game and playing to an extremely elite level. It's always sad to see those guys go down because not only were they down for the rest of that series, but now you have guys like Damian Lillard, Tatum, and Haliburton who all are probably going to miss all of next season, which is a shame. Those are, 3 of the league's premier players, and it's always sad to see a guy go down like that. But going back to the actual finals itself.
Building on this quickly, before we go back to the finals.
Okay, that's fine.
I believe right after Haliburton got hurt, I forgot what app it was, but they immediately put the Knicks as favorites to win the Eastern Conference and make the finals next year.
Yeah, and it's funny because we will end up talking about that at some point through this as well. I have that written down in my little notes.
Right.
But the thing was, especially with this finals, we saw one player definitely exceed above the rest. And I'm talking about, Jalen Williams was pretty good too, but SGA again. The guy won the finals MVP, scored 29 points in that final game. Jalen Williams did also add 20 points, as well as Chet Holmgren adding 18. But there's no doubt in my mind that SGA had quite the run for the full season, especially in the finals as well, too. Stat that I saw.
He was the regular season MVP, too, right?
Well, that's something I'm just about to say, too. But, yes, he did win the regular season MVP. But he joins a list of a very short few, all legends in the NBA, to win the scoring title, the MVP of the regular season, and the finals MVP. The only other 3 players to do it is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Shaquille O'Neal. So he added himself to a list of absolute legends, to say the least. That's for sure.
Isn't he still young, too?
He is. I believe he is only 24, 25 years old. I believe he was drafted in 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
26.
Huh?
He's 26.
26. Well, I know he was drafted in 2018, and then he sat for a little bit. But like I said before, joining that list at 26 years old is very impressive. The only guy to do it multiple times, obviously, was Michael Jordan. He did it in 91, 92, 96, and 98, all with the Bulls. Kareem and Shaq did it once, but who knows, maybe he could do it again and be the only other person other than Michael Jordan to win or complete those feats all in one season. But that's quite the feat itself. But like we said, back to the whole Tyrese Haliburton injury, it was a very crazy stat to me that all 3 guys, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, and Tyrese Haliburton, all tore their Achilles, and they all wear number 0. That's a stat that I saw somebody say too. All 3 of them, only players to tear their ACL during the postseason, all number 0.
Wait. I didn't think of it like that. I never. You didn't say that. I wouldn't have realized that.
I saw somebody say it online, and it clicked.
Let me hold on.
It's nuts because I know Tatum wears 0. Halliburton obviously wears 0. I did not know Dame wore 0.
I did know Dame wore 0 because when Anthony Simons was drafted, Dame made him wear 00.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, you are correct. Yeah, so they were the 3 players that tore their Achilles in this postseason all wore number 0. I don't know if that's bad juju. I don't know. But it was very shocking to me that it's just that type of commonality, that sort of coincidence that all of them wear the same number. They all had the same kind of injury in the same postseason. It's just very weird stuff. But you also mentioned, too.
It would have been weirder if it was all in the same, game of the series.
Well, yeah, that would have been, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's probably gone in and dug that up to see if maybe it was. I don't think it was.
Tatum's was game
5.
Tatum's was game 5.
Halliburton's was game 7, so that's automatically out right there. But you did mention before, you said that after Halliburton's injury, that they put down that the Knicks were the favorites to win the Eastern Conference and go to the finals. I actually pulled up the odds that they had after the season was over. I pulled up the top 5 teams. And this was actually kind of shocking to me. The last one was a little bit confusing, but I wouldn't be surprised if it could be right. So obviously OKC is the defending champs. They're probably going to be the favorites again.
Yep.
They are a plus 220 betting odds right now. The second best is the Cleveland Cavaliers at a plus 700. Still not bad.
Plus 700. I mean, that's not bad, but I did also see that the Cavs are looking to get rid of Garland and or Jared Allen too.
Well, I'm curious to see who they would get to replace him. I mean, as long as they have most of their core in place, they have a very good team. It's fairly young. They should be all right. So I would not be surprised if they can make some moves next year to keep them at the top and make them a contender. But the Knicks were number 3 with a plus 750. That I can understand because we know that they're going to make some moves in the offseason. We're not sure what they are going to be yet. Obviously, they're still looking for a new coach at this point. So there's a lot of different pieces that are going to be moved all throughout the system. So we still have a lot of time to see. Those odds will obviously change. The other one, the bottom 2 teams, one of them I kind of understand. The other one has to do with the Halliburton injury.
Let me hear him.
The Rockets at plus 850 after acquiring Kevin Durant. I was kind of confused.
I don't know. I'll talk about that trade in a minute.
Oh, yeah, we have those trades coming up as well, too. But then the Pacers were plus 1,400 for 5th, especially after Halliburton got hurt. And, I mean, the rest of their team still is very good. There's no question about it. They got depth. We've talked about that in the last episode.
Yeah, but Halliburton's the ball,
I said the same exact
thing. What's the word I'm looking for?
He's the court general.
Yeah.
He's the guy that brings the ball up. He's the facilitator. Yeah,
yes.
and for some reason they still have him at a plus 1,400. I guess they think that Siakam and Nembhard, Nesmith, Miles Turner will be enough to do it.
If we're being honest here, who else in the East would be
a contender?
A contender.
Well, I mean, Boston, like we said, we'll talk about the trades a little bit as well, too, because there were a lot of moves that happened in the last couple days, which will shake the East up a lot. A lot of them did happen with the Eastern Conference, especially with the top teams. So going into the trades and the signings and stuff, obviously there were a bunch of them that went through. Kyrie Irving declined his player option, signed an extension with the Mavericks for 3 years, $119 million. That's a good signing. It's great that we're going to be able to have him back on the court, especially after the way that they drafted the other night, which is going to be cool.
Didn't he also tear his Achilles? Or was it his ACL?
I think it was his Achilles as well, too, but I think that was late last year. Was it late last year or really early this year? I think he should still be around. It was after the
Luka trade.
It was. Okay, so it was right after the Luka trade. That's right, because I remember everyone was saying Dallas fans are in shambles right now.
He tore his ACL.
Was it? Oh, well, so he still has a decent time to rehab and get back, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's back ready to go by the start of next season, so he should be okay. Now, the other ones that I have, I saw Fred VanVleet signed a new contract with the Rockets, 2 years, $50 million, with a player option 26-27. Hey, you know what though? He's a very good player, very sneaky. I could see him as more of a depth piece, even if they decide to use him as a starter, which they could. Very good role player to have on your team. So that was a good signing. They also did agree on a 3-year extension with Steven Adams as well. So they're keeping pieces in place.
Rockets? I didn't know that.
The Rockets are making a couple moves here. Now, there were a couple of them that really did shock me, though. You had New Orleans, the Pelicans, acquiring Jordan Poole from the Wizards for C.J. McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick. That was kind of shocking.
Jordan Poole's not worth that much.
I said the same thing, but
Jordan Poole,
good player again. But
Jordan Poole only had that one good year on the Warriors when they won the ring, and that was it.
yeah, well, the thing that shocked me the most about it though was I could understand if it was Jordan Poole and maybe a pick for all three of those guys, but the fact that it's him by himself, and then for a solid big man, CJ McCollum, who's still fairly good, and a pick. I was very surprised by that. The other one that was really mind-blowing to me from the Memphis Grizzlies was them trading Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 future first-round picks and a 2029 first-round pick. Or second-round picks they had. Or no, it was 4 future first-rounders and a 2029 first-round. Still, regardless. Basically 5, yes. But
wait. Or what is Orlando doing?
I said the same thing. Trust me. I was
hold
shocked.
on. So I get
5
Orlando has
5 first-round picks.
Can you let me speak?
I know. I'm just baffled.
Zach,
Go for it.
Let me speak. Orlando has I get they have a young core, right? They have Paulo, and I believe
Wagner. Still?
they have Mo Wagner, and then I believe their point guard was Cole Anthony, right?
He's included in trades.
Yeah, well, now he's gone. But I get they had a good core, or like at least a good solid 2 players. Or did I say Mo Wagner? I meant Franz Wagner.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm not. No, don't come at me. I get that they have a decent, solid 2 players, but if they're giving up that much capital just to get 1 player in Desmond Bane, you're kind of setting your franchise back a lot.
Yikes. That's all I got to say. I was blown away by that. Then you obviously have the Kevin Durant trade where they sent Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a draft pick and 5 second-round picks to the Phoenix Suns. That was a lot for Kevin Durant.
I
like Kevin a lot. But
I like a lot, really.
Okay. I like Kevin a lot. Okay, there you go.
I like Kevin Durant a lot too, but when I saw that notification, I was like, I mean, Kevin Durant is in his mid-30s, right? He's got to be.
He's late 30s now. He's probably like 36, 35.
He's 36 years old.
I was going to say, I know
so
he's later.
You traded Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and was it
a draft pick this year?
A draft pick this year and 5 future. Four futures second-round picks, right?
Yep.
Why are you giving up that much? I mean, I guess it is second-round picks, not first, because, obviously, but Kevin Durant is aging. He's 36 years old. Somewhat, I'm not gonna say injury-prone, but he has had really he's had bad injuries in the past in his career, so those could catch up to him. But if you're telling me that the Rockets are going all out to win a championship, I don't think that the roster that they have is good enough to do it.
I don't know if they are either. That's why, again, I'm very surprised by the whole move. I could understand if this is a young KD they're going for, but they're going after a 36-year-old KD. Now, granted, he's still a very, very good player, still one of the better scorers in the league. No doubt he's a Hall of Famer as well. We talked about Russell Westbrook the same way last time.
Yeah.
But, again, I don't understand trading that much capital for a guy that is in his last couple years in the league. But that being said,
I mean, hold on. I mean, I understand Jalen Green, he's good. He has good potential, but he's not consistent.
No, he's not. But
he's not. But he has the potential to be.
But
good.
he was included in the trade too. So
I know, but that's why I'm saying
for Phoenix
for Phoenix when I'm talking about Houston, giving up Jalen Green isn't the end of the world because he's not as consistent and Dylan Brooks is also inconsistent, and that contract that they gave him was just it was pretty bad.
Yeah, no, it was not good. Then we had the Celtics make 2 big trades.
Okay, I was shocked by
these were kind of surprising.
I was
to me
shocked.
As well.
The first one was the Drew Holiday trade.
Correct. It was Drew Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks.
I was shocked by that because Anthony Simons is just like Jalen Green. He has potential, but he hasn't shown any of it.
Correct.
He's shown when Damian Lillard was there, right? he was putting up 20 points consistently because you had to like guard Dame, so you would leave somebody else open in the corner to shoot threes or go to the But since Dame left, I haven't really heard Anthony Simon's name been called a lot.
At all, to be honest. And then the other one, which was the three-way trade between the Celtics, Hawks, and Nets. This one gets confusing.
I think the Nets got the best end of it.
It's possible. The Hawks got Kristaps Porzingis, which actually could be pretty good. I saw a lot of people saying that the whole Trae Young Kristaps move could be beneficial, even though you got one really small, one really big. I don't believe so. They could. I don't know. That's a long shot. But then the Nets got Terrence Mann and the 22nd overall pick this year, and the Celtics get Georges Niang and a future second-round pick. Again, I think it's fair to say that after the way that the season ended for the Celtics this year, losing Tatum for a significant amount of time, I think they kind of realized that it was time to blow things up a little bit and make some moves. They still have a lot of money opened up, so they can go get some guys now.
Well, I do believe even if Tatum was still around, these would have been done because they did not have the money to pay everybody.
That's true. I agree with that
now,
as well.
What I am seeing now, which I don't agree with for the Celtics, they're listening on offers for Jaylen Brown and Derek White.
Okay. Well,
the
Derek White one, sure.
The Derek White one, yeah. But Jaylen Brown, you just paid him $300 million, 2 off seasons ago?
And he's going to be your best player now, especially with Jason Tatum out.
Tatum's going to be out. You're not going to have that offense. You're not going to have his offense on the court. And I guess you could say that Jaylen Brown's kind of been a little underwhelming for the amount of money that he's being paid.
You could say that. I mean, he had some moments in that series against the Knicks, though, too, even when Tatum went out, where he had that big rebound game where he scored, I think it was like 30-something points, and definitely helped them make a run to keep that series a little bit closer than it should have been. But again, I think it was fair to say, especially as a Knicks fan, I don't like to rub it in at all because obviously we've been on the short end of the stick for a while. But I also do kind of find it funny that the Knicks series that knocked the Celtics out is kind of the reason why the Celtics had to blow everything up. So it's kind of credit to the Knicks a little bit.
No, Zach, I think you're wrong. I think that the Celtics went all in for a chip last year.
They
said we're gonna run it back this year, and they realized that this was their only other chance because they didn't have the money to pay them.
That's true as well, but it does have to do a little bit with the Knicks, though, too, because it got their season done a little bit quicker, and now they're talking about Jaylen Brown getting traded. That's a big move.
So the Knicks beating the Celtics has a lot to do with them thinking about trading Jaylen Brown. I'm agreeing with that part.
That's my big point.
But with Holiday and Porzingis, I think they're going to get moved regardless.
Well, yeah, I thought that a couple of those guys would have moved, but the Jaylen Brown one is definitely something that has to do with the Knicks.
And now we're on this topic of trades. I don't know if any more have happened, but I have one that I think is going to happen in the next few weeks, months, or before the season starts.
Which is?
I do think, you could come at me, you could say I'm biased, but I have had other people tell me they think this as well. I do think the Knicks go get Giannis.
I could see it. I don't know if I fully agree with it yet. Like I said, I've definitely seen some signs that they were interested. I saw a lot of people talking about it online as well. And I definitely think it could be an option for them. I'm curious to see what they would have to give up to get.
Because I know they are shopping around Mitchell Robinson and Bridges.
Yeah, see, I could see that as well, too. I don't want it to be a package that takes away a lot of the players because obviously everyone shoots to have a big three nowadays. That's been the common theme. But at the same time, I don't want to have to give up. Look at some of these trades that we saw. You want to give up 5 picks for Giannis?
No.
And a player?
No.
It's too much. It's way too much.
I don't see it. I mean, I see it happening, but I think it's a long shot.
It definitely is a long shot. But that also could play into to getting Jason Kidd as well, because I know Jason Kidd and Giannis had a very good relationship when Kidd was in Milwaukee. So, like I said before, Knicks are still looking for a head coach. I know that they've had some names that have scattered around. They didn't really get permission from other teams at that one point. I think it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where they were looking and they got denied. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. But
they were looking at Ime Udoka.
And they shut that down.
Yeah.
They said no. And I'm not surprised on that either.
No, but going back to the whole Knicks thing, I think that the only thing that the Knicks were short of in this playoff run was was
Depth.
not necessarily depth, but just like a sharpshooter. Like you
Yeah,
had
no.
Brunson, but like last year in the playoffs when you had Dante,
Yes. The
I
Italian
think the Knicks go get Giannis, and I think they get Dante, and I think they call it an offseason.
I would love to see that happen because I think a reuniting of Dante with the Knicks would be great as well. We didn't really touch much on the NBA draft. I mean, there wasn't really too much to go crazy about. I think everybody knew going into the draft the other night that Cooper Flag was going first. That was undeniable. Everyone knew it was coming. He was easily the best offensive and defensive player in the class this year. I mean, he did lead Duke with, I believe, in every single category on the offensive or defensive side of the ball, which is nuts.
All right.
Incredible player.
All right. The only other thing I'm going to say about this draft is, right, so you have the Mavs GM, who arguably has one of the best players in the league, as in named Luka Doncic, right, and who just led him to the NBA Finals last year, right, and you still have Kyrie, and you still have pretty much the same roster you had last year.
Anthony Davis.
Well, I didn't get there yet.
Oh, you think he's going to trade him maybe?
No, because you had the same roster you had last year, right? And instead of saying, we're going to let the season play, run it back, you trade a 26-year-old who has generational talent. Like, I mean, for Anthony Davis, who's injury prone.
You are right, but then the other thing that I see
and then you want to know what? You have a 1.4% chance to get the first overall pick, and you get it.
Yeah, but again, I've already seen analysts talk about this as well, too, is now your big three is Cooper Flag, Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis. That's still very good, even though they lose Luka.
I'm not saying it's not bad, but I'm just saying that's unheard of.
I know, it is.
When do you hear a team with a generational player, right? They get him on draft night. They have him. They trade him probably in the prime of his career. They give him away for practically almost little to nothing.
I'm not Nico Harrison.
And they wind up getting the first overall pick in the draft with another potentially generational talent player with generational talent because Cooper Flag is only 19 years old.
Well, the other thing is I doubt if Luka ends up leaving, I would not be surprised if they don't get that first round pick. To be honest, I think it's a little bit rigged. Don't come at me for that too, NBA fans, but I think it is a little bit rigged too because the minute that whole trade happens, obviously, like we said, 1.4 chance. The minute he gets traded, here we go magically. Oh, the Dallas Mavericks get the first round or the first draft pick in the first round, and now they go get Cooper Flag right after they lose Luka. It's very fishy to me.
Yeah,
something's got to
be going. Yeah,
something is not right there. But we'll kind of get off the basketball talk for a little bit because obviously, like we said, it was obvious that you were going to see Cooper Flag go first. It's not really a shocker. It would have been whatever team, but we also did see a lot of NHL moves. This is where I studied a lot of it as well too because you could see it from my shirt. I'm wearing a Rangers t-shirt. I'm a diehard hockey fan, especially for my New York Rangers. But they were the first ones to actually make a couple big moves. They traded away Chris Kreider to the Anaheim Ducks a week ago for Casey Terrence and a third-round pick. But then I also did like the depth signings and the fourth-line signings that they had, which was Adam Edstrom and Matt Rempe both got signed to 2-year, $1.9 million deals, about $975,000 per season. That's actually very low, and especially as fourth-line players, you're not really going to beat those contracts. Then you also had Mason Marchment of the Dallas Stars getting traded to the Seattle Kraken for a 2025 fourth-round pick and a 2026 third-round pick. That draft actually goes on today, so Friday, June 27th. That draft goes on tonight, so it'll be curious to see how that goes. Then you had Jonathan Taves, former Stanley Cup champion, former captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, who stepped away from hockey about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, is coming back to the league and signed a contract with the Winnipeg Jets, which that one was a big shocker to me, especially since he hasn't been playing for 2 years. I mean, he's still kept in shape a little bit, but stepping away from a game like that for so long, we saw Nicholas Backstrom do it on the Capitals. He never came back afterwards. It's very confusing to see how that goes.
I know this is a completely different sport, but you know who that reminds me of?
Who?
I'm not sure I understand.
Of course.
You know who that reminds me of? Stepping away from the game.
Who?
And coming back to a different team. Gronk.
Yeah, okay, yeah, a little bit. But you know what? That's still a little bit different. He was still training. Obviously, he was partying like crazy too, but Jonathan Taves is a lot older than I think Gronk was at that point. Gronk stepped away at what, 31 years old, 32 years old?
Yeah.
And then came back.
I
Jonathan
do
Taves was,
believe
like, almost 40.
believe that the only reason Gronk did step away is, and I think he has said this live on TV, is because he was being traded to the Detroit Lions.
He did say that, yeah.
I am sorry, Lions fans, but Gronk said he didn't want to get able to play for the Lions, so he said, you can't trade me, I'm retired. And then once Brady went to Tampa,
He came
went
out
to
of
Tampa.
retirement, yeah, which was shocking. Then a little bit back to hockey. Now the Gronk talk is, it's there. It happened.
We'll touch
and
more
the
on football
similarities
later.
are there. We will. Trevor Zegras, the young superstar from Anaheim, the Ducks, got traded to the Philadelphia Flyers for Ryan Poehling, a 2025 second-round pick, and a 2026 fourth-round pick. Then we saw Evander Kane a couple days ago get traded from the Edmonton Oilers, who lost in the Stanley Cup Final, to the Vancouver Canucks for a 2025 fourth-round pick as well. And then the most recent trade that I saw, which I was praying that the Rangers tried to make a move for this guy because he's very young, but I'm glad that another team that's very young as well is starting to make this move, was the Utah Mammoth, the new expansion NHL team that originally, of course, was the Arizona Coyotes, but they went to Utah and didn't really have a name. Now they have their name again. Wow. Mammoth, kind of confusing. Was traded from the Buffalo Sabres to the Utah Mammoth for Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan. And this is impressive for Utah because Utah continues to add a lot of young talent to their top two lines. Definitely think that they could be a little bit sneaky next year. Would not be surprised to see them make a little bit more of a run than a lot of people would expect off first glance. Now, we will transition over to the one sport that is actually going on right now, which is baseball again. Now, both of our teams are still struggling a tiny bit. They have broken their losing streaks, but the Mets lost 2 of 3 against the Philadelphia Phillies. They finally won consecutive games back-to-back on Wednesday and Thursday night against the Atlanta Braves, taking the last 2 out of 4 games. They also sent down Francisco Alvarez, Luis Angel Acuna. They had bullpen issues, and especially the Frankie Montas game where he came back. He pitched fairly well, but to blow the lead again and lose, I mean, it's just it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's struggling to me.
I mean,
I'm lost for words with them sometimes. I really am. I love them. But
even with the Yankees, right? They the other night they lost in 11 innings. I believe it was 11 innings to the Reds.
Yeah, no, yep.
Yeah, that was very, very hard to watch.
Yeah, both teams have been a very tough watch as of late.
Well,
They really
I think
have.
it was, I don't know if it was top of the 11th or it might have been top of the 10th. It was a 2-0 count on Chisholm, and instead of and it was a ball, the pitch was thrown way under the strike zone. And it was a called strike, and Jazz didn't like it, and he wound up striking out. It went from a 2-0 count to a 2-1 count when it should have been a 3-0 count. And I guess when they were warming up in the field in between innings, Jazz thought the umpire was looking at him, and he said, "What are you looking at me? What are you looking at me?" And he ultimately, that led him to getting tossed from the game. And it just wasn't.
Yeah, that's not a great sign from Jazz. I think he's a great player too, but sometimes I think the attitude can kinda
But
get
you know
in
what
the way.
doesn't help? You know what doesn't help? When you have the best player on your team up with the bases loaded, and he pops up too.
Oh, well, hey, trust me, join the club. We'll talk about that as well,
Yeah.
too, because both teams are very similar in that sense. But, so as I mentioned, as of June 25th, a couple days ago, I was looking up some stuff,
Yeah.
and it says that the Mets' ERA over their last 10 games is 6.02. That's not good. Not only that, now the Mets have lost Kodai Senga, they lost Tyler McGill, and I don't know if you were watching the game last night, they lost Griffin
not.
Canning to an Achilles tear.
Oh, so he's done for the year.
He is done for the year,
Damn.
unfortunately.
Damn.
They said that they were going to send it back for imaging and that it was an ankle, and Mendoza came out and confirmed that it wasn't Achilles. They don't know the severity yet, but
Well, now you know how I feel.
from watching the game, I was sitting at my job watching the game, and you see that exact moment that we saw from Rodgers, that you saw from Halliburton, Tatum, all these players that tore their Achilles. Put that foot down, and that back of the ankle popped bad. And right when I saw that, I went, oh boy, he's done for the season. So now you're down 3 starters. They still don't have Minaya coming back from injury. They actually had to shut him down for another 48 to 72 hours to throw. So he still has not made his series debut.
No.
This is going to get really ugly for their pitching staff unless David Stearns and Steve Cohen start making some
Wait
moves.
a second. If I am correct, you still have Clay Holmes.
Stop.
Clay Holmes.
Is Clay Holmes an ace? No. Clay Holmes has been very good. I like Clay Holmes. I like the addition. I was
I
very
hate his
skeptical.
guts.
Well, as you're a Yankees fan, we get it. Now, the thing was, I didn't like the move at first when they first signed him, but I'm not going to sit here and say the Mets pitching lab with a lot of these pitchers, including Canning, including Clay Holmes, have actually shown a lot of good signs, but that is not your number one guy. It cannot be. You need to have a better ace in your pocket. Now, going to your team.
Can I just say something? Speaking while we're on the topic of pitching,
while we're
right?
on the topic, yeah.
When we were going into the season before spring training, what team was projected to have the best rotation in the league?
What was the LA Dodgers? No.
Yeah, it was the Dodgers, but that rotation is all
it's all banged up.
It's all banged up, practically hurt, right?
Correct.
And then you're going into spring training, and my favorite team, the Yankees, arguably lose. Well, they not arguably, but they lose their ace.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the best pitchers in the league, in Garrett Cole. So, coming from my point of view, maybe you guys might think it's a little biased. I don't think this is any bias, but I think that if Cole was healthy, I think you could make an argument that the Yankees would have the best 1, 2, 3 starters in the league.
With
Fried,
and Rodon. Yeah, that would definitely be
and
up
then
there.
Schmitz played better this year.
He's been much better this year. Yeah, I think the last game I saw him pitch too, he went 7 hitless innings.
7 no-hit innings.
Which was impressive. I think he was up to like 100 and something pitches.
103 pitches.
Him. But yeah, he did pitch very well. But now in regards to your team again, like I said, they took 2 of 3 against Baltimore, but then dropped 2 of 3 against Cincinnati.
Yeah, that was not fun to watch.
And the big thing that you said before, which again we will touch on, is the fact that they struggled to hit with runners in scoring position. And as of June 25th, Yankees batting average the last 10 games was .235, which is it's still bottom of the barrel, not really that great.
I mean,
but with runners in scoring position, it's .227. That is not good.
Yeah, no, that's not good. I mean, everybody thought they were going to be worse than they were last year, but coming into the series, or the season, I should say, I feel like they have surpassed most people's expectations
no doubt.
on
No doubt.
where they were going to place. Not mine. I thought they were still going to be pretty good this season.
Of course.
Because of the roster that they have. But with the addition of Stanton coming back, who's hitting the ball, but not only just – he hasn't hit a single home run yet, and he's batting, like, I think somewhere in the mid-200s.
Which isn't bad, too. He'll start getting –
I'm not saying, like, him not hitting a home run is a bad thing. It's a good thing. Because usually when you see Stanton, it's either home run or strikeout.
That's very true.
But now he's just getting on base, which is very important. You have LeMahieu playing like LeMahieu again. Very important.
It is very important as well, but I will say something about that later on because we are going to talk a little bit about what the teams need. But before we do that...
Eugenio Suarez.
Well, that's a possibility. I saw him on the radar as well. The one stat I wanted to bring up before we kind of go into that is... both New York teams right now, Mets and Yankees, both teams are not even in the top 15 for runners in scoring position. That's horrible. Horrible. And that's a big reason why a lot of them have struggled. That being said, as a Mets fan, there is one thing that has actually started to make me happy about this team. You probably know where I'm headed with this. It is the official arrival of Juan Soto. You can get mad at me all you want. Let's go through those stats.
No.
Please.
No.
Okay, so stop. You be respectful here. Okay, so he's through 24 games this June. He's batting .325, a 0.485 on base percentage, OPS of a 1.238 with 3 doubles, 10 home runs, 18 RBIs, 22 runs, 23 walks, and a stolen base. He's starting to finally catch on, which I had a feeling was coming. He actually did tie his previous record of 19 home runs through the first 80 games with the Yankees, and he did the same thing with the Mets now. He does lead the team. Not only that, he leads the team with home runs, but he becomes the first Met to have 10 home runs, 20 runs, and 20 walks in one calendar month. And not only that, he passed Jimmy Fox with the most multi-home run games by a player under 27 years old at 27. He's already got 27 multi-game home runs, and he's not even at his 30s yet.
All right.
Superstar.
So now we're going to pivot to the Yankees here.
Yankees fan pivot off of that quick.
Yeah, very quick.
Wow.
I'm going to say something that has given – I mean, once Cole went down, I was kind of bummed because obviously one of the best players on the team. But an addition we made, which I'm not saying I don't enjoy watching the Yankees, but right now it's kind of hard because they're just awful. But
Well, they're not awful.
they're not
struggling,
awful.
but
They're
not
struggling. They're in a little bit of a slump.
Yeah.
But their pitching rotation is still somewhat like very good. The addition of Max Fried was, I believe,
Massive.
I'm not gonna say like I wanted the Yankees to re-sign Soto. I did, but I'm now realizing that if we re-signed him, we would have been exactly where we were last year with the pitching staff. We wouldn't have gotten Fried. We probably wouldn't have gotten Bellinger or Goldschmidt or whatever else we added in the offseason. Will Warren wouldn't have came up. He's been pitching pretty well. He just struggles with runs, but other than that, he's been phenomenal.
Well, yeah, he's been good. No question.
Yeah. But going back to Max Fried, he's the first pitcher in the league, I believe, to have 10 wins.
In the American League, yes.
American League to have 10 wins. This is not the entire MLB.
No, I thought it was only the AL. I could be wrong.
No, I think it is. I think it could be. It's definitely the AL, but it could be the entire MLB
Could be.
because I did see MLB post that on Instagram.
I did as well.
Okay, so he has 10 wins, 2 losses through 17 games.
It's good.
He has a 1.92 ERA with 108 innings pitched and 104 strikeouts and a .94 WHIP.
Yeah, that's no doubt about it. They definitely would have been different, but of course, I'm not going to say this. Don't take this the wrong way. The Yankee fans are so bitter that Soto is doing well. All as a Mets fan, I'm just happy we're finally getting some results out of him. It's not a shot at Yankee fans, but you guys have Fried, you have Goldschmidt, you have a lot of other guys. Just let the Mets fans be happy for a little bit here. We finally got something good going.
I'm not saying I'm not bitter that he's not doing good, that he's doing good there. I'm just like, it's just
Yeah, there's not really words to put to
No.
it. No, I get it. Trust me.
like
I
because
completely
let's
understand.
say if you went somewhere else for 2 years and then went to the Mets, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. But like when a player goes directly from the Yankees to the Mets or Mets to the Yankees, you have to feel that there's some sort of
like tension or something.
not tension, just like sign of like not disrespect, but like kind of like, you know, like even like same thing like
I've seen a lot of players do that.
I've seen a lot of players do that too, but it's like you think like it's like a fan favorite, right? You think the fans like, oh, like he respects us, he loves us, and then he does something like that.
Well, but you know what? At the end of the day, everything is run by the dollar sign, and when you
Exactly.
throw money like that,
I'm not gonna lie.
Would you have said no if they offered you $765 million, even if you were loved by
No,
Yankee fans?
no, I would not have said no.
Exactly.
I mean, it was only for an extra $5 million.
It was only for an extra $5, but at the end of the day, we
But-
said it before. Aaron Judge is the face of the Yankees franchise.
See,
There's
this is
no question
this is
about
what I'm gonna say. This is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say this. I said this before, and I said this probably 100 times. Soto didn't leave for the money. He left because he would never be the captain and he would never be the face of the team.
it. Absolutely, but I don't
Judge-
think he'll be the captain anyway for the Mets.
No, Judge will always be the face of the Yankees.
No doubt.
He's always going to be in Aaron Judge's shadow. He would never, like maybe when he retires, he would take
Take
take over.
No question.
But for the majority of his career, he would be in Judge's shadow, and he didn't like that.
Yep.
He thinks that
can see
Judge,
it.
because he literally said Judge is the best hitter in baseball.
He is.
And he literally said that when he was hitting behind him, pitchers were pitching, or in front of him, pitchers were pitching to him differently because if they didn't, like, they loaded the bases for Judge.
It's an extra run that
it's
Judge
an extra,
is gonna
exactly.
knock in. Yeah, of course.
But he saw Lindor. I'm not saying this is no shot at Lindor. I don't hate the guy. He's amazing. I wanted the Yankees to get him when he was made available by Cleveland. He sees the Mets and he doesn't see a face of the franchise.
Well, I would say yes in that sense.
Lindor is
Lindor's
the face.
captain.
Lindor's the captain.
No question.
He's the captain of the Mets. but he's the when you come to the Mets, right? You would be able to think of two players, Alonso and Lindor, right?
Mm-hmm.
When somebody says Yankees, who's the first player that comes to your mind?
It's Aaron Judge.
And that's really the only player that used to come to mind.
That's true.
So when Soto goes, oh, I'm 26, I can go play for the Mets, and I can become the face of the franchise. He doesn't have to be the captain. He just has to be in the headlines.
I never disputed that either. But that being said, now I know we talked a lot about Juan Soto here. I don't want any more bad.
I'm gonna say one more thing before we move off of baseball, and it's not about the Yankees or the Mets.
Okay.
This is about a player who came back, I believe, maybe a month or 2 months into the season.
I know who you're talking
and has had some grueling injuries in his career and is still playing like a demon. Ronald Acuna Jr. on the Braves might be the best player, or he is one of the best players in the league. He has a World Series ring, but that year he did tear his ACL in one of his knees.
Yep.
He came back the next year, still played he played okay. Then the year after that, right? He comes back in, and I think he was going to catch a ball at the wall.
In the outfield.
The outfield, and he tore his ACL in his other leg.
Yep.
He tore both ACLs, came back this year, and I don't know how many games he's played. I think it's...
Oh, I saw he had some nutty stats, too.
That
kills me.
He's batting .369, 9 home runs, 18 RBIs, and a 1.143 OPS.
Yeah, dude.
His first at-bat back from the IL was...
One pitch,
and it was a home run.
It was like 450 feet, too.
And I think 2 or 3 games later, he won 495.
I believe so, yeah. But the thing that kills me is you guys don't have to worry about him. As a Mets fan, I have to be tortured by this guy. He's tortured us for years. And as much as I've hated playing against him, goes back to the whole Jason Tatum and Halliburton kind of thing. As much as I cannot stand that he's on the team that tortures us, I did not want to see him get hurt at all because, like you just said, when he is healthy, he is one of the best players in
I believe
baseball.
he's also
all-around players.
He's still pretty young, too.
Yeah, he's only look him up. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in his mid-20s, a little bit older than Soto, maybe. I'd say 28. I could even be wrong about that. He may be younger than that. But he's, again, absolutely insane.
27.
Same age as Soto, pretty much. Now, going back to the Mets and Yankees before we kind of close out the MLB side of this, I was talking about all of the things that these teams kind of need to help them make that full playoff push, or even if they want to be World Series contenders, what they do need. Obviously, I started out with the Mets, so I would say for them, there's 5 big needs right now. And you could agree or disagree with me on any of these.
Can I take a guess?
Okay, yeah, you could take a guess.
I haven't watched many Mets games this season, but I do know that there is, you spoke to me a lot about this, so one need, right? You said third baseman.
Well, that's kind of on there, but not really.
Right.
It depends with Vientos. Depends.
Right. Catcher.
No.
No?
Nope. They have Luis Torrens. You don't expect your catcher to go too crazy. Alvarez will get his mind right in AAA at some point. He's definitely a good enough player. That not really, no.
You need another bat.
We do. First, though, we
pitching.
need lefty reliever. You lose A.J. Minter and Danny Young for the whole season. They don't have lefties. All of their lefties that they've brought in have not been that great. Now, they do have Brooks Raley potentially coming back. I know that he's supposed to be throwing bullpens, and he's looking pretty good, but you always need more. There's never a problem with that. Then, going into the same sort of thing, a back-end bullpen option. Obviously, you have Diaz as your closer. You need that setup guy. You need someone that can go in the 7th or the 8th, maybe both. Okay, stop with the trumpets. We get it. I love the trumpets too, don't get me wrong, but
Timmy Trumpet.
Yeah, Timmy Trumpet.
No, but I have seen a lot of big name bullpen arms that you wouldn't expect to see teams being ready to move from.
Thank God.
Ready to move from Ryan Helsley from the Cardinals.
Bring him in.
Emmanuel Clase from the Guardians.
Bring him in.
I mean, I know this pitcher's struggling right now, but Sandy Alcantara, he won the Cy Young 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Send him here. Well, I know it's going to be hard because he's a Miami Marlin in the same division. That's a little bit tougher. But anyway, you have Kranick out. Nunez has not been good. Brazoban blew the game the other night. And Stanek, obviously, other than the last game he pitched against the Braves, has not been at his best. So those two things. You say Sandy Alcantara. Starting pitching, especially now that I mentioned Canning, Senga, and McGill all being
Freddie
out.
Peralta could get moved too.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that there's a lot of teams that are going to be willing. Wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Baltimore move some pitchers as well, since they're struggling.
Speaking
right
about
now.
Baltimore, right? They can move their pitchers, but they're struggling, and I could see two moves happening. One with Baltimore, one with Detroit. I don't know. This Detroit one might be a long shot just because they are doing so well this year. If not this year, it's definitely going to happen next year, in my opinion.
Which is?
Oh, can I do? All right. So I believe that the Tigers will move on from Tariq Skubal because they don't have the money to pay him. And I don't think they're going to make the same mistake that the Angels did with Ohtani. I think that if not this year, because they're doing very well this year, but next year at the deadline, if they're not where they want to be, they will ship him somewhere for half a year to at least get some value out of him.
I could see it, but at the same time, if the Detroit Tigers let up Tariq Skubal, if I'm a Detroit Tigers fan,
I would be pissed. I would be
pissed.
I would be pissed. Like I would legitimately be pissed if they trade him and I was a fan of that team. But think about it this way: the Angels got no value from Ohtani. They let him walk in free agency, and he signed $700 million with the Dodgers on some BS contract.
That's true. It's just, oh man, that's a guy that
The Tigers are leading their division this year. I believe they are
leading
strong.
the MLB.
They're leading the MLB. They are a heavy contender in the league this year, right?
Yes, they are.
But if next year they're not where they want to be by the deadline, I don't think Detroit has the money to pay Skubal.
I don't know if they do either, but I'm
because
telling
they
you,
gave Baez a ridiculous contract.
they did give Baez a ridiculous contract, which again, that's just crazy.
And with the Orioles, another player that still has some value who has not really lived up to his hype is Adley Rutschman behind the plate.
Okay.
I could see Adley Rutschman getting moved. His numbers haven't been where they wanted it to be.
No, they have not.
He's also been hurt this year, but his numbers haven't really been there.
Well, there's another player I actually want to bring up too that I was hoping that the Mets get, and obviously other than starting pitching, which is another need, is a center fielder. Cedric Mullins. I've heard his name
Cedric
around.
Mullins can get moved, yes.
And I'd love to have his versatility. Good fielder, good at the plate. He's very fast. He's good on the base paths. I would love to see a guy.
You know who else I think gets moved? Could get moved, and if he does get moved, I think their fan base would go up in flames. I think Bregman could get moved.
I was seeing a lot of people saying that Bregman
I think
might get moved
I think
as well.
Bregman could get moved only because if you're looking at it, if not Bregman, Trevor Story. Because the Red
that's
Sox,
another big name too,
they have all these young kids that they want to play, but they have nowhere to play them.
That's true, and they have a lot of young guys.
They have Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer.
Yep.
And then I think those are the
What
top.
about Rafaela? Is he still there too?
Rafael is playing though. He's up in the
I
big
know,
leagues.
yeah, I
But
thought he was up
the three players that got called up this year were Campbell. All right, Campbell might have been called up last year. I don't know.
No, but they sent him back down this year too.
It was Campbell, Meyer, and
Anthony.
Those three players are young. They're great, and they should play. But they have nowhere to play them because you have Jarren Duran can get moved.
Yep.
I do see Jarren Duran can get moved. Bregman could get moved. Story could get moved. Story hasn't really lived up to his contract that he signed with the Red Sox. He's been hurt for most of it. As of late, I believe he has been playing better.
He has been, yes.
Currently, Bregman is still out. I believe he should be coming back within the next few weeks, maybe a month. Other than that, I don't know how Boston fans would react to that happening, but
they'd have to bite the bullet and get over it at that point.
Exactly.
Especially with the way that they started. It was not pretty. But we also do need to speed things up a tiny bit just so we stay within the frame here because I do have another topic we want to talk about real quick, which is in the NFL.
I was going to say something else, too.
But so to close out really with the baseball stuff, I'd say the other final thing that they need is the offensive weapon, which you were right about. They need one more bat.
All right, now for my turn, because you took the Mets.
Here you go. I already have the three that they were looking for. I was looking through that last night, too.
No, actually, I don't agree with some of these.
Okay.
I do think we need a third baseman,
No doubt.
but I don't think I love Jazz. I think I would rather have Jazz at second base
That's why I
than
said
third
that.
baseman.
That's exactly
And
why I
then
said
even
that.
though DJ LeMahieu is playing like he is healthy, it's not. I'm not saying it's not good enough, but we could get better.
That's exactly
Like literally, if we go out and we get Eugenio Suarez, he has insane pop in Arizona, and I am going to say this, taking advantage of it. I am a Yankee fan. We have a small stadium.
I'm glad someone
The
said
left. I am a Yankee fan. We have a small stadium, and I freaking love it. I love that. If Suarez comes to the Yankees and can keep hitting like he is, I think that would be a great move they can make at the deadline.
Well, you know what they say, chicks love the long ball, so it makes sense.
Exactly.
So.
And as a starting pitcher, I don't even think we need another starting pitcher because around the deadline, Luis Gil's coming back.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee he'll be the same either, especially after injury, and he has had up and down moments. The thing is with pitching that I always say, I hate to cut you off again, is you can never have enough starting pitching. It's always
that
good
is
to have
true.
starting
That is
pitching.
true. That is very true. I am going to say this though. Gil is young.
He is.
He did win Rookie of the Year last year. He was phenomenal last year. I do think that if they do get a starting pitcher, it could be Freddie Peralta or maybe even Dylan Cease because I know both of them are on the last years of their contract. And even though San Diego is still doing fairly well right now, if they could get him or some value for him, it would be amazing.
There's another name you didn't say either.
Michael
because
King.
He's hurt. No. There's another one because he's hurt. Shane Bieber is still sitting out. He said he should be back after the All-Star break.
Shane Bieber is also...
And he's also very late on his contract as well. I saw his name getting floated around a couple
Shane
days ago.
Bieber could be a name too. I said Michael King. He's also on the last year of his contract.
Yeah.
Relief pitchers. We do need another relief pitcher. As of late, Devin Williams has been pitching like Devin Williams. Like, thank you for showing up. Like, my God.
Yeah.
The Airbender is back. Luke Weaver came back. He didn't really look that well in his first start against Baltimore. He gave up, I believe, 1 or 2 runs. Other than that,
It'll take time.
Fernando Cruz is still nasty. He has a nasty splitter. That pitch is disgusting. Other than that, in the bullpen, you don't really have any other notable names. But we could use. I wouldn't mind if they go out and they get somebody. Maybe like, I'm not even saying Ryan Helsley or, Clase. Maybe if they go get like Hunter Gaddis or Mason Miller. I would love them to get Mason Miller, but he's not going to get traded.
Hey, you know what? With Oakland or whatever they are now,
San Antonio. So they're playing in San Antonio this year.
Are they really?
They're playing in a college. I think it's a college field in San Antonio while their stadium in Las Vegas is being built.
That's crazy. But anyway, like I said, any of them can get moved. You never know. But
moving on to the NFL.
Closing it out today, we're not really going to talk about much of the actual NFL as in team projections or fantasy or stuff like that. But the big topic I saw a lot of people talking about is they have finally released the offensive and defensive rookie of the year betting odds. Obviously, I think the favorites for both sides, there's obviously a very good chance that either of these guys win. I would not be surprised if they
Abdul
both do.
Carter.
I know you're thrilled wearing your Victor Cruz jersey, and I would be happy too, no doubt. Obviously, I think the big offensive one is really between, in my opinion, 3
Ashton Genty.
He's the favorite, is Ashton Genty. But
Cam
I think
Ward.
Cam Ward.
And I can figure the other one out. Ashton Genty, Cam Ward, and... Is it a receiver?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
That should give it away.
Oh, tight end.
Travis Hunter.
Oh, damn. I'm like,
and no. He's a corner and a receiver. He is on both lists. He's on it, I think, third on both. Yeah, he's plus 1,000 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year and plus 1,200 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Has anyone ever won both?
I guarantee you no. I don't even think Dion was the only one that ever really did that. I don't think he did either.
Charles Woodson played.
Well, he did a little bit. He not as much as Hunter does, where he plays on offense and then goes and plays on defense, and then goes on offense and then goes on defense.
Dion played wide receiver, cornerback, and then baseball, I think, all at the same time at
He
one
was,
point.
which is nuts. But let's stay on this whole thing here. So obviously, I think the top 3 on both sides are very good. There's one sleeper on the defensive side, which I think is very low. There's also another guy on the defensive rookie of the year list, which I don't even know if he plays this year. And that's Shamar Stewart of the Cincinnati Bengals. He still hasn't signed his contract, and he's thinking about going back and getting redrafted the following season and just holding out.
The only thing I'm going to say about that with Shamar Stewart, right, is I get he doesn't like the team he got drafted to. Something similar almost happened like this with Caleb Williams last year.
Yeah, that is
But
true.
this Shamar Stewart sitting out thing, it reminds me of one. It could, you're not going to say it could be the same thing, can't be the same thing. Like, it reminds me of one player specifically who was at the peak of his career and decided not to play. It reminds me of Le'Veon Bell
Oh,
with
I
the
thought you were
Steelers.
going maybe a
I am
different
sorry
sport.
for all the Steelers fans because last week I did kind of rip into you with the Aaron Rodgers thing. But this week, Le'Veon Bell he chose not to play. He sat out. He signed with the Jets, and then his career kind of basically went downhill ever since then.
Died. Yeah, it's
Shamar Stewart is gonna sit out. He can't go back to college.
well. No, I was just saying he's going to
He
sit out.
can't go
and-
back to college.
and wait.
He's gonna sit out. Still gonna train physically, but no amount of training is gonna do what actual playing time in a game will do for him.
No question about that either. You're right.
He can be a first-round pick this year, but next year he might not even go in the first round, number one. Number two, he might not be the same player that he is right now.
He might not even get picked because a lot of teams are going to say, oh, well, what happens if we take him? And he says the same thing, oh, I'm not happy here. This and
Attitude
that.
problems.
That's a big attitude problem, and I don't know if I'd want that. But that being said, I think the top 3 guys on both lists are very good with Genty, Ward, and Hunter on the offensive side. The defensive side was Abdul Carter, Jalen Walker, who was the linebacker or defensive end, just an edge rusher for the Panthers. And then again, Travis Hunter is the corner, the one sleeper I had as a defensive player.
Wait.
And this may be a little biased because of my college affiliation, is Jihad Campbell, linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, the Alabama superstar that I watched last year. The guy's incredible. He fits in a great defensive system with Philly. They got a lot of animals on that defense. He is definitely going to contribute big time.
I think I have one more player. We touched upon him last week for a second. He's playing in a good secondary. If it's all healthy, it could be really, really good.
Malachi Starks?
Malachi Starks.
Okay. I can see
Him
that
on the
potentially,
Malachi
too.
Starks on the Ravens could be really, really good.
I think so.
Especially with him and Kyle Hamilton, and with the cornerback room now you have Marlon Humphrey and Jair Alexander. I just think that can another be a sneaky
It
good player to
definitely
watch.
could be as well. I think that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye out on. They did not even have him on the list. I pulled up the top 10. He's not even on the list.
No,
They
I
had
think he could be good.
Michael Williams for the 49ers, Mike Green, linebacker for the Ravens, Mason Graham, James Pierce Jr. for the Falcons, Shamar
Mason Graham
Stewart,
was the
defensive
Steelers pick.
tackle for the Browns.
Browns.
Yes. And then Jahdae Barron, cornerback for the Broncos, was on that list to round it off at plus 2,200, which was shocking. To be honest with you, I said the 3 top for the offense would be interesting.
You know what I wouldn't be surprised? I would not be surprised if out of nowhere Shedeur Sanders comes up and just takes it away from
Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Cleveland Browns, plus 2,000 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was 9th on that list.
I wouldn't be surprised that happens.
They don't even have Dylan Gabriel on that list, and Dylan Gabriel right now is ahead of him on the depth chart, and they don't even have him, which is crazy to me. But that being said, I think that we're due for a very good NFL season. I think there's a lot of rookies that are going to make big impacts for their teams.
Definitely.
And, I definitely think that this is going to be an interesting season to see what happens with a lot of guys. That being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 2. I am Zach.
I am Julian.
And we will see you guys probably in about 2 weeks. We will have a week off because of the 4th of July. So we hope that everybody has a very happy and safe 4th of July. And we will see you in a couple of weeks.